Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Friday? Happy New Year. Although I do think I've done at least one other stream before this year. Anyway, so yeah, all right. As you can tell by the title, by the thumbnail, we're gonna talk about Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni. Sorry, there's like slamming. I'm losing my train of thought. Justin Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios. Who else is in this thing? I mean, not mentioned, not named to my knowledge, but what's her husband? Ryan Reynolds. I know a bunch of y'all have pointed out that there's also some Johnny Depp, Amber Heard dispute connections through some of the PR people. Let me pull the web up. There are some twists, there are some turns, and honestly, y'all, it's very overwhelming. I've thought a few different ways of how to like really approach this. There's like the different parts of the web. You know, it would be nice probably if I could do this all in one video. I sincerely and highly doubt I would be able to make a video that really accurately encompasses and covers everything I've learned about this whole situation in one sitting. Like for example, just the two lawsuits alone. What we have here is, excuse me, Blake Lively and this guy, Justin Baldoni here. Let me use this for the visual aid of it all. These two right here, if you're starting from ground zero, these two right here. See, Blake Lively, that's one. Justin Baldoni, that's another. These two, they suing each other, okay? I did make a previous video to the one that you're watching right now relating to Blake Lively, okay, and the litigation. At the time, she had initiated, you know, some version of a lawsuit, but she had not officially sued in the civil court, okay? We talked about a few allegations, but really what we focused on and what I focused on in my previous coverage of this lawsuit had to do with a character named Jed Wallace of Street Relations, Inc. For your reference, I will locate him. Remember him? Street Relations. He was accused in the complaint filed by Blake Lively, and now this has now been re-alleged in a federal complaint. But that's what my previous coverage did kind of focus on, this guy right here, Jed, excuse me, Jed Wallace of Street Relations. All right, so starting from the beginning, because I really want this to be a starting point, because I know that it's easy right now for people to feel a little bit like lost in the forest with the trees, whatever the saying is. That's what this video is supposed to be for. That's what this live stream is for. I will probably, I'm just setting the expectations here 3 minutes in. I will probably be on here for a while today. You should probably get a snack or whatever. I think a lot of us right now are struggling with like having like our voice, like we're just losing our voice. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be on here as long as my voice cooperates, which is going to be the whole time. I feel like it. But yeah, other than that, okay. So I think it's easy to feel a little bit lost, right? Because last week it was like Blake Lively filed a complaint. It's not really a lawsuit. Don't call it a lawsuit, even though okay, girl, whatever. She did not sue him in federal court yet. That is true. Now she has done so, right? So it kind of appears from the news flurry. That's why I put the flurry down there. It kind of appears from the news flurry like there's, you know, like three separate lawsuits going on, because one complaint Blake Lively filed that wasn't actually a lawsuit. Then the one that now is actually a lawsuit, largely similar to that one that she filed before. And then also this guy right here, Justin Baldoni. Okay, so let me change this right here, because they're not actually suing each other. And that's actually important, because Justin Baldoni is not suing Blake Lively. It's a very interesting legal strategy. Justin Baldoni, this guy right here with the they were co-stars. We can get into their roles and stuff too. I am a little bit all over the place because like I'm literally like in my brain looks like this map right now. So I'm just gonna start somewhere and go. But I'm just laying the groundwork because I wanted to feel approachable. The whole thing I was saying is that it feels like a lot has happened and it's just chaos and you're never going to catch up. And so I'm kind of like trying to make this live stream that I'm doing right now a place for that. This is my contribution to allow people to all catch up. I'm going to be reading through some of the allegations, some of the complaints, the documents. I'm going to be showing y'all some comparing and contrasting, some webs, just opinion stuff. Everything I'm saying is based on these documents and these public records I'm going to be showing y'all. But yeah, it's going to be, as you can probably tell from looking at the map, it's probably going to end up being a little bit complex and a little bit of a long one. And it may seem like, you know, I'm a little scatterbrained because I kind of am. Like, I'm just acquainting myself with this story and all these characters. I'm not familiar with these studios, these agents. You know, I'm kind of like in that gathering information stage. But I do have quite a bit gathered here, and I want to share it with y'all for the purposes of just getting you caught up with what's going on in these lawsuits broadly to get your bearings. Yeah. To get your bearings, I guess. That's what I want to say. Okay. Now let me type this in because I don't want it to be misleading. This map thing right here, don't take anything I type in here, especially if I don't say it out loud. If you just read it, don't take it as it's a fact. This is my mind map. You know, it's not facts. I'm going to show y'all the fact. I'm going to show y'all the public documents I base my opinions on, but y'all know, you know, if you don't make these disclaimers, they out here trying to sue you and you wrapped up in stupid litigation, just anti-slap suits for the next 10 years. It's like traumatizing. I know it's aggravating, y'all. I don't really like having to say it over and over either. I know it's pretty straightforward and obvious, but you know, this is the world we live in. This is how I have to do it. It's pathetic. Okay. So let me just make sure this isn't misleading. Okay. Justin Baldoni, is not suing Blake Lively. Okay. He's suing the New York Times. But his lawyer said today, this guy's lawyer, we have a new update as of just a few hours ago. His lawyer, Brian Friedman. Now, this guy's an interesting character in and of himself. His lawyer earlier today, January 3rd, Brian Friedman went on the Today Show. This is Justin Baldoni's lawyer. Brian Friedman went on the Today Show, and he said they are about to be suing other people. So don't get it twisted just because Blake Lively's name is not on this lawsuit that we about to go over and look at right now. We're going to look at two, okay? Just so y'all are aware. I'm just setting the stage, okay? If you're not interested in the type of video where I'm going to be going slow and setting the stage and repeating stuff a lot, because I'm kind of still learning this too, like you might just want to just leave and wait for when I'm going to make shorter videos that are more, you know, ADHD friendly and stuff. And look, no shade, I got ADHD too. So just, you know, understand. I'm just letting y'all know what to expect, because sometimes I feel like a pressure that I have to like hurry up and like don't repeat stuff. And it's like, I don't know why I feel that. Maybe it's because I don't want to, like, I don't know, let down y'all's expectations or something. That's why I keep telling y'all I don't work for y'all. I don't want you to expect that I do. You know what I mean? But I do want to explain to y'all like what is going on in the lawsuits. It's going to take me a little bit of repeating. It's going to take the long way around the mulberry bush. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying that, you know, for myself too. I sometimes have a tendency to feel rushed. Okay. So that said, all right, here's the map of the players from what I understand. Wait, is it up? Yeah. To what I understand. Okay, it starts with us. Ting. I'm funny, huh? All right, so we have Blake Lively. You may know she's married to another A-list kind of Hollywood celebrity. They're most recently I noticed them before all of this because Blake Lively apparently is pretty good friends with Taylor Swift. And I don't know, I mean, I guess according to their PR publicists or whatever, and Blake Lively, Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds and them, they would go to the football games where Travis Kelce was playing his games, you know, Taylor Swift's PR boyfriend or maybe real boyfriend, even, who knows? Are they engaged? I don't know. Maybe it's love, y'all. So that's the most recent she came on my radar, like being kind of a socialite, you know, friends with Taylor Swift. But she has sued. She was in a movie called It Ends With Us. She was in a movie. And the movie, I'm gonna just talk a little bit about the movie right now so that, you know, this is from the beginning. Remember, this is the from the beginning video. The movie was produced by Wayfarer Studios. Okay. And I think there's a pretty important little business catch here that I want to talk about called the option. All right. This movie, It Ends With Us. It's based on a book. It's based on a book. But whenever you base a movie on a book, you still got to have somebody write the movie script, the screenplay, I guess it's called, or whatever. It's got to be adapted or whatever, right? So there's these companies, from what I understand. I am by no means an expert. Okay, I would consider myself a layperson, but there's just out there in the world, there exists a category of companies, a category of business where you purchase the rights to make a movie about a book. So then, because it's your right to decide whether you want to make the movie or not, you bought the right to make it. Like, oh, I want to bid. Maybe some of you're bidding, maybe you don't, maybe it's a private sale. I don't know how it works. Again, I'm not an expert, but there's a certain type of company, like a business model within the movie making industry, where I don't want to speak too far out of turn, but I'm getting a tingle memory that I think maybe Reese Witherspoon has a company that maybe does this. And you buy the right to make a movie based on a book from like print publishing or whatever. Okay. From what I understand from the research I've done, Justin Baldoni's company called Wayfarer Studios, they acquired the right to make the movie based on this book. To make the movie based on this book. Okay. The book, It Ends With Us. I don't know. Maybe that's the title as well. I'm not getting into every single detail. I don't know every single thing. I'm just telling y'all what I've learned. Now, Justin Baldoni, as y'all might know, financing movies is very expensive to finance a movie. So Justin Baldoni, he has a company called Wayfarer, and he's not the only owner, from what I understand. This other guy, Jamey Heath, at least at the relevant times when this activity occurred, I don't know what's happened in recent weeks as far as their jobs. I don't know if they still I don't know. I haven't looked. I'm not that far yet. I'm just telling y'all what I learned so far. These two guys both co-own the production studio. Okay. And they decide to exercise the option, which means they decide to use their right through their company has acquired, Wayfarer, to make the movie. Therefore, once a movie exists, or if a movie ever comes to fruition, it would also belong to these two guys, because then they would have, legally owned the right to make it. And also then they would have actually paid to have it produced or whatever. Right. So it's their property and they acquired it somehow. I assume they bought it. I assume they purchased it. Like I said, it is a business model. I don't know anything about really any of these people until the last 2 days. And my mind is just racing. Like, woo, it's just been, I'll talk more about, my opinions and stuff later. I just want to lay the groundwork here. So, not only did Wayfarer produce the movie because they had the legal right to do that, they put their own money toward producing the movie. The company owned by Wayfarer, owned by Baldoni and Jamey Heath. Now, Baldoni and Jamey Heath are both getting sued by Blake Lively. Okay. Both getting sued by Blake Lively. All right. But we're just talking about the movie and how it got made, because you really need to understand that. Foundational. It's kind of like when you learn what a verb is, if you try to go up to doing the rest of the stuff, you got to know the parts of speech. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's do that foundation. Okay. These two, they're going to put up their money through their company Wayfarer to make this movie, but they, I guess, needed or wanted for some reason more money. They needed another investor in the movie. Right. So, or maybe they wanted, I don't know. I don't know what their motivations were. I'm assuming if they went and got somebody else to co-finance their movie, it's because they could use the money, but I really don't know. I'm speculating on that part. But what is for sure is Sony signed on to co-finance the movie. This is what's reported publicly, at least. I don't know. I wasn't there. And not only did Sony sign on to co-finance the movie, they also became the distributor of the movie. Okay. And in the movie industry, that's, the person that places the movie where it's going to be placed or whatever, I guess, or whatever. They had the distribution duties and I don't know, rights. Again, I'm not an expert in this field. I've been doing it's been like a crash course. Like I feel like I've gone to college in this stuff and I don't really know. It's just fun to kind of go through though. I just want to set the expectations. It's kind of fun to just go through it and like tell y'all where I'm at with it. But it's chill lo-fi. Okay. Don't get too chomping at the bit because then it makes me nervous. Okay. So Baldoni, I don't know. I'm going to say his name wrong. I don't really know. Is he Italian? Is this Luigi Mangioni's 16th cousin twice removed? The hair is given similar vibes. And like Oni, is that, that's Italian or what? Okay. So anyway, all right. So not only is he the co-owner of this company, and again, this company is important because it owns the movie. Okay. Where's the movie? Show y'all the little cover of the movie over here so you can get your visual aid. See, look. There's a little cover of the movie over there. Okay. Okay, we're back over here. Okay, so they team up with Sony. They're going to finance the movie, and then Sony's going to distribute it. But they're going to produce it. They're going to produce it, which means, they're going to be responsible for the director. Who's the director? Who are the other producers? What are the producers' jobs and all of that, right? Well, for Baldoni, he's not only an owner of the company. It's like a tree and a hole and a hole in the ground and a grave. Not only is he the owner of this company, but which is financing the movie, but he's also a director. He's also a producer, which this guy, Jamey Heath, I believe is as well. But also Baldoni is a co-star in the movie. Okay. This is going to be important for many reasons. One, it just shows how the depth, the level of involvement this man has in this project, right? Now, importantly, for context, again, I'm just kind of learning about some of this stuff, but from what I understand, the casting of a movie is done by the Baldoni and Heath types of characters, okay? And then the casting would be for other stars of the movie, i.e., namely Blake Lively. And indeed, and in fact, in this particular lawsuit, in this particular case, one of these complaints does allege that, I think it's Baldoni's, but we'll get to the specific facts. Baldoni, I believe, alleges in his complaint, if not him, it's Blake Lively, that it was he who did, in fact, cast Blake Lively for the role of Lily Bloom. Now, that ends up putting them in a little bit of a sticky situation. And this is where my opinion is going to start coming in as we move into more of the facts, allegations, and their disagreements with each other, okay? Because it becomes a very blurry, I really do hate to use this terminology, but truly it is an accurate description. It becomes a gray area. Why? Before you press enter on the rage comment, just listen, hear me out. This is why I say that. Look at all the jobs the man has, okay? Don't take anything I'm saying right now as I'm on somebody's side. I'm not. I'm straight down the middle on this one. I'm really very I'm very torn on. I'm not on anybody's side, truly. I'm not. I feel like to some degree, there's aspects where I could be biased, but I feel like on the whole, I'm taking everything each thing for what exactly is in front of me on this one so far right now. Okay. It's very confusing. They're accusing each other of the same exact stuff. Some of the characters are exactly the same. One of the characters, they got the same person. They rely on the messages to say, that's my publicist. No, that's my publicist. It's truly mind-blowing. It's truly it feels like I've been taking like let me just say opinion thing right now. Okay. So like there was these exercises they had us do at school sometimes. And I took this class at Wharton where if I took the class over like a break or something, then, and I went all day to this class, I got a certificate at Wharton, and it was like a war simulator. And we got assigned to teams randomly. I think it was random. I do think it was random. We got assigned to teams randomly, and we had to like pretty much cosplay, like LARP out a war in the South China Sea. And it was before the war had started, and each of us represented a country. And so we had to learn about the country's customs. And like, I felt like it was like a FBI training module or something. Like, I don't know, maybe the guy training us was from the former FBI or something. I don't know. It was strange, but like when I would go home every day from it, like my mind would hurt. Like like when you're trying to figure out a puzzle and it's just like blowing your mind, like, oh my God, but if we're China and we do that, I think I was Indonesia. If we're Indonesia, we got to stay loyal to China because then they so big and they right next to us, and who's got the nukes? And it was like, it was very stressful. They had us in a little, like my brain was like buzzing at the ends of those days. And I feel like that, I'm looking at Charles. I know. I'm just telling y'all, I don't gatekeep. I feel like that when I look at this case because I don't know whose side I'm on. So I just said that whole story and I just said all that because I really don't want to be accused in the comments in the live chat of taking a side. That's why I'm doing chill lo-fi. I understand that it is hard to come by on YouTube and even sometimes on my own channels. Like I definitely have biases and I do have biases even in this case, but like, you know, I'll kind of be like, oh, I'm more in favor. I hope this person wins. And I tell y'all that. I tell y'all when I'm biased. But and this one I'm letting y'all know I'm not. I see pros and cons in both. I believe some of this stuff sometimes they say. Sometimes I'm wondering where's their evidence. You know, I'm really kind of feeling like right down the middle on this one. I don't feel that invested emotionally. Do you know what I mean in that part of it? Okay. So when I'm talking about the so-called alleged gray area, okay, that I referred to, what I mean is the following. Look at all the jobs Justin Baldoni has, okay? Maybe if you're biased against him already, or if you're like just you really love him and you already believe him, take him out and siphon in, you know, P. Diddy or somebody, right? Like really, you know, try to be a neutral. That's what I'm doing over here. I'm trying to be neutral. Look at all the jobs that the man has under his name, right? Co-owns the studio that owns the movie. So he owns the movie. So in some part, in a part, it is his movie by legal right and ownership. Okay, good. Okay. He also had, according to him, I don't know, I wasn't there, but he alleges that he also had a substantial role in writing the script. Okay, so of the movie, right? That gives him more ownership interest, in my opinion, right? These are all factors. They're marbles. I did procure a marble, a scale. I'm gonna be throwing my marbles on that thing soon. Okay, so also, he's a director. He's directing the movie and he's also in charge of the production of the movie. So the movie, you know, the making of the sausage, who's editing? What's the editing style? Who are you going to put in charge of the XYZ department, element of whatever, you know? That puts him in a little bit more of a boss position than the run of the mill, you know, third assistant to the cameraman or something. Right? Like this is a owner. He's a director. He's kind of the boss of the movie. He's the boss of the actors. He's directing the scenes. I do believe, you know, there were many directors, many producers, and he was one. Now, I do want to point out Blake Lively also got a producer credit on this movie. So to the extent that, you know, perhaps we may want to leverage that marble against Blake Lively and say, or against, these two guys, Baldoni and Heath, she had that credit as well. But then, you know, there's the other side. There's like a lot of tit for tat. It's like a lot of, but this, and then it's like, oh, you're on this side of the scale. And then, but this, and you're like, oh, wait, Blake Lively made a point. It's kind of like, you'll see what I mean as we go through, I think. We're going to get into all of that, Misty. Thank you, Darth, Azrin for the 149 super sticker. We are going to get into all that mystery singer. I'm just taking my time. We're doing chill. We're doing lo-fi. We're doing New Year. I'm tired. I'm not tired. I'm just, my mind is like buzzing and it's like, it's all in my head. And then when you try to get it out in words, you're like, I got to get it out fast. And it's like, I just can't get it out fast. This is a lot of information. We just got to go the pace it takes. So I'm pacing us. Okay. So like I mentioned, Justin Baldoni is suing not Blake Lively yet. However, again, his lawyer, if you're just here since I said this, hello, hi, welcome. This lawsuit that Justin Baldoni filed he filed in California. Let me check. Hold on. Yeah. He filed in California and Blake Lively filed in the Southern District of New York. So, that presents another like totally in the weeds question about jurisdiction. Like, is one of these parties going to want to move to consolidate these two cases? And I heard, a lawyer on one of these NBC or CNNs or whatever talking just a couple hours ago saying, I think it was Today's Show, actually. I think it was Today's Show, the one that the guy went interview on. He said they suing more people, and it might be Blake Lively. Let me pull it up. I don't want to get copyright struck.
There's a lot to get to in this half an hour.
Hold on.
We're going to start with.
Let me pull it up. I clicked on it. Let me pull it up. Thank you so much, Dolce, for the $99.99 super chat. You are so nice. Y'all just put some clap emojis in the chat. Oh, look, it's like I'm live on live. Okay, this is the video.
The legal battle we've been paying a close eye on. This is between former co-stars Blake Lively and
change in Baldoni's lawsuit appears to show Lively.
Oh, is this not
Baldoni to go over lines in her trailer?
Oh no, that's not it. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it quick. If I can't, we can just have to watch that part later. But there was a lawyer who came on. Yeah, I don't feel like looking for it now. Okay, so there was a thank you so much, Dolce, for the $99.99 super chat. Love you, mean it. Shout out to Dawn becoming a member. Thank you, Donna, for the $19.99 super sticker. Donna Burke, shout out to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, let's just go back to the web for now. The whole point is to say he ain't suing Blake Lively. And it might be because, like, the reason why could be possibly because he doesn't want the New York Times one to be enjoined, to be consolidated with maybe he wants it to be in Southern District or whatever. Okay. So there's a lot of allegations, all right, going back and forth. That's really what I would say I have spent the predominant amount of time over the last 2 days really sorting through. It has been a lot. Like, for example, Blake Lively's lawsuit, I think, is 111 pages. And then Justin Baldoni's is like maybe more than 80 pages, close to 90 pages, maybe 90 something. And then there was that whole entire other complaint that Blake Lively filed, which is similar to, let me show y'all, similar to this complaint right here, but it does have some new stuff in it. And there's just all these factual allegations. There's all these people. And I just couldn't figure out how to start it, like where to start. What this is right here is the two complaints, just some notes for whatever I thought was important, and maybe thoughts, and who knows, downloads from the mothership or something. And I was like, okay, I didn't know which one to really even start on, because Blake Lively and him and what's his name, Baldoni, they filed their lawsuits both on the same day. So, for example, in Baldoni's lawsuit, he spends a lot of time on the whole argument of Blake Lively didn't even file a real complaint. If she would have been serious about these claims, she would have filed a real lawsuit. And, like, there was a few hour span of human history where that was true, but it's moving so fast that it's no longer true. By the time I started reading his document, Baldoni's complaint that he filed in California, by the time I started reading it, that part was no longer true. That, well, she should have filed a real complaint. She has now filed a real complaint. So that's what we're going to be going over today. The real complaint that Blake Lively has now filed, and also the complaint that Justin Baldoni has filed against the New York Times. Now, I'm going to do my best to not misspeak, but I may slip up and say his suit against Blake Lively, or maybe like if I say something like his allegations against Blake Lively. He does make allegations against Blake Lively, but the allegations he makes against her are just in the lawsuit that he's really suing New York Times. He's not yet suing, in this lawsuit we're looking at today, Blake Lively. Okay. So the way I read it, I first read Justin Baldoni's. I read his first. The reason I read his first was because I had already read the first, at least to myself off camera, Blake Lively's first complaint that was filed with the Civil Rights Department or whatever. And I wanted to actually see what Justin Baldoni had to say. And when I say Justin Baldoni, I mean Wayfarer and Jamey Heath and whoever else is suing. I wanted to see what Justin Baldoni, because especially him, because he's a co-star. Like, imagine it. He's a director directing the scene and he's the co-star, you know, like in the scene. It's kind of like without taking up for or saying everything she says is true, Blake Lively, I can understand a kernel, a one little marble, one little nugget of like, yeah, I mean, he's in the scene and he's directing the scene. It's kind of like, and that's normal. And I think that happens a lot. A lot of people direct and act in their own movies. Stuff that's normal to, you know, Hollywood. It's like sometimes, you know. So I wanted to hear or read from him what his reactions were to some of this stuff. Now, again, Blake Lively has added some new things to the federal complaint that she filed that she did not have originally in the civil rights complaint, but it seems to be roughly very similar now. Namely, interestingly, notably, whatever importantly you want to say, there appear to be some new allegations about Jed Wallace. So hopefully I have the, you know, wherewithal to make it to that. Tried to revisit the Blake Lively article. Somebody said the article's locked. Maybe they shut the article down. Yeah, shout out to the mods in the chat. Shout out to Diamond Rainbow holding it down in there. Okay, so yeah, all that to say, I was going back and forth. I didn't know which one to do first. Should I read hers first? Should I read his first? And I think actually what I want to do is I want to go back and forth. I want to bounce back and forth. Reason being, there is a lot of back and forth here about factual allegations. I'm going to give and provide one example. The breastfeeding, pumping, walking in thing story or whatever, right? Okay. It came out in the news. It came out in the tabloids, in the news, wherever. Also, I believe the New York Times, but yeah, we can bury anyone. It came out. It was reported widely by news and tabloids that Blake Lively alleged, and then she did allege also in her complaint, there's the two places, that she would be breastfeeding her child. That's a quote, breastfeeding her child. And Justin Baldoni or other members of their team would barge and just come in. If they wouldn't barge in, then they would pressure her, she said. They would pressure her to let her come in. There's okay. I feel like I need to make a list too, because there's a lot of talking past each other in these lawsuits. And I want to look down, like I want to dissect this. I want this to be like a clinical laboratory dissection. I want us to make sure that all the words mean what they mean over here. And where it's ambiguous, I want to point that out. So the allegation going around is specific. Think about it. Breastfeeding. Okay. She said, let me just pull it up in the complaint while I'm here, because I want to make an example of this complaint. And I want to talk about this because this is a big one everybody's talking about. Let me find the breastfeeding. Let's just start there. That's our starting point. Yes, awesome mods. Thank you. Okay, so where are we? Breastfeeding. Okay, so Blake Lively describes so that's in her complaint. All right, so let me pull up Blake Lively's complaint, because I'm going to tell y'all why. I am making a new effort to, if I can rely on a public document that was filed in a court under penalty of perjury, that's what I'm doing. So if it takes a little longer, it takes a little longer. Hopefully, like other content creators also watch this. It helps them and they can make a video about it too. I definitely don't mind that, as long as they're not, like making false claims about me saying I leaked something that I didn't leak. This is all public information from public documents. That's what I want to pull up. Because I don't know if y'all know this or not. I've been getting picked on out here in these YouTube and these tabloid streets, and they've been lying on my name. Yes, they have. They've been saying I was doing stuff I wasn't doing, and I think it's a setup. Yes, I do. So I got to cover my bases, and now all of us got to be here for longer. That's aggravating. Okay, woo. I'm getting the document. I made a whole new folder. This is the Blake Lively complaint. This was filed same day, y'all. It's not like, one was filed 3 days before, 3 days, one's a response to the other. It's like the Baldoni one is a little bit kind of a response to Lively, but again, she has updated it. She kind of changed some of the stuff. It's kind of like, I think, different theories of the case. Obviously, it's suing under different stuff, maybe. I don't know. Hold on. I want this one. Hold on. So I want to find where it shows up the first time. Page 25, page 23, page 24. Okay, it's on 23 is where the first time they say it. Okay. Here's the Blake Lively complaint. Okay. I guess I should have kept it on that. Hold on. Breastfeeding. Okay. Okay, here's the first instance right here, paragraph 60. On another day, Miss Lively wore a low-cut dress to facilitate breastfeeding. No, that's not the one. I want the one where he's walking into the trailer. Yeah, okay, look, 64, paragraph 64. Throughout filming, Blake Lively says in this filing, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath invaded Blake Lively's privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed. Okay, so it's two different allegations. Entering while she was undressed, and then also including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. Now, even before Baldoni replied back to this, I said, wait, I ain't even a mother yet. Okay, I never breastfed nothing, and I can promise you, quote, while breastfeeding her infant child, end quote, isn't the same as while pumping and invited. You know what I mean? So the tabloids were reporting this. Baldoni would barge in and invade her privacy while she was in various states of undress. She would, including sometimes when she was breastfeeding her infant child. Okay. Which she felt comfortable doing so long as she was given the time. Okay. Yeah, she often had to work while breastfeeding, which she felt comfortable doing as long as she was given the time and the space needed to cover herself, which I think is one point. Again, I think we're gonna come out of the draw at the end, so don't get all ruffled up. But I think it's one point in Blake Lively's argument favor, because I do agree that even though Justin Baldoni has come up with a text that has said, you can come into my trailer to practice lines or to talk about something but I am pumping. That's an invitation. That's putting, she's the one inviting him. So she's saying, yeah, you can come in here. That's different. Like inviting someone to your house is different than them just showing up and barging in. I mean, I think we all would agree. Or your apartment or your whatever, And so that's one point in the favor of Blake Lively. But there's a lot of tit for tat on this issue. Okay. Oh, no pun intended, girl. There's a lot of going back and forth between them where it's like, oh, but that's a little bit of a point on Baldoni's side. Like, for example, she says he Blake Lively says that Mr. Heath, who's the other guy that owns Wayfarer, he was staring directly at Blake Lively while she was topless. And he's already given his version of the story. His side of the story is, I was looking at her face, and at the time she was covered up, and a makeup artist was wiping makeup off of her shoulder, but she was covered up. And Justin Baldoni and Jamey Heath have shown text messages, which I don't know if they're real. I don't know if they're not real. Y'all, I mean, they got to be verified and stuff, but they've shown text messages that do show that Blake Lively did on several occasions invite them into the trailer. Now, that does not mean that that gave them open license to barge in any and every time. What it means is it will matter if we lined up those instances where there was receipts that Blake Lively invited them in, like the dates, for example. And then we lined it up and realized that on those exact dates, Blake Lively invited them in and said, no, just come in and all of that, right? So I think I need more evidence. But they're talking past each other on the issue of the breastfeeding, right? And breastfeeding isn't the same as pumping. So it could be the case. It could be the case that people are using them interchangeably. But it's interesting to me that it is Blake Lively whose allegation it is that is what I would consider to probably be the more specific, because it's the one in the category, right? It's while she was in various states of undress, including breastfeeding. So why would she use the basket category, the catch-all, and then the example? I'm getting into like legislation and statutory interpretation. This is where I have to like just slow it down. Okay. Okay. So again, there was just that slight issue there. And again, it doesn't mean that, caught ya, busted. It just means it's ambiguous. All right, let's get back to our map. I want to talk a little bit about some of the allegations involving who the players are and what they did right now. Hold on a second. I see some squirrels acting up in the chat. Okay. Here's the web. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of Blake Lively's allegations, other than and aside from the fact of this assault or whatever, harassment or whatever. Okay, so what's really being alleged? The top line, and I don't mean to do this in a dismissive way or anything. I'm just the point isn't to get too in the weeds on the specific allegations. I want to talk about the different functions of these PR people real quick first. But the top line view, the silhouette of the situation is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have competing stories. Some places their stories overlap, and you could see, and some agree. Some places their stories agree. They do agree on some certain facts, like they agree on certain dates. They agree on certain conversations happening at certain places and certain people being certain places. You know, they agree on some stuff, but then they disagree on some stuff. Okay. Now, Blake Lively seems to have initiated the first legal action in this case, which I would be considering as that civil complaint filing thing that wasn't a lawsuit. Then on the same day, New Year's Eve, December 31st, Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively sue each. Well, see, I was going to do it. Justin sues over the New York Times Blake Lively story. He sues New York Times, and then Blake Lively, he sues him. She sues him. And then they're making some competing allegations. One example of those competing allegations I just provided to y'all. That was the a little snippet of some of the different things they were talking past each other about on the breastfeeding, right? Is breastfeeding, well, here's his receipt for pumping, but was it on the same day? And is breastfeeding, pumping the same thing, right? It still leaves some open questions. But for me, it's not a slam dunk either way. You know what I mean? For me, it's like not like, oh, that person got busted with lying or something. Like, it's like, I don't know. I need more. Okay. So what Blake, let's just say like generally what Blake Lively alleges is that There was some improper, and dare I say, I think she might have even said illegal behaviors going on the set of the movie. And she says she called Sony. Why did she call Sony? Because they finance in the movie too and distributing it. She called Sony apparently to make an HR complaint, and then Sony sent her back to Wayfarer, and they said, no, you got to go back to them. They got to go to their HR. And basically, Sony said, that's not our department. So then all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe not all of a sudden, maybe a long time in the works or whatever, but y'all remember there was that writer's strike, the American Guild, whatever strike they were doing. So the strike thing happens. They start filming let's rewind. They start filming the movie May 2023 last year, or I guess now 2 years ago. We just started 2025. But 2023, middle of the year, May 2023, like a month later or 2 months later, that strike starts. So they film for like a month or something or two. And then the filming shuts down because of the strike. So then months goes by and then they all going to start filming again. Okay. But in this time, Blake Lively, who's been cast as the lead Lily Bloom or whatever actress, she says that she and some other cast members had begun to accumulate some unsettling behaviors. Specifically, Blake Lively says Jamey Heath and Justin Baldoni had exhibited some of these behaviors. She gives examples, comments about certain things, asking her certain questions about her personal life. She alleges that she would be required to improvise like physical scenes, of the S nature. What else did she allege? She alleged that Justin Baldoni, I want to get more into detail on this one at some point, but she took issue with the fact that he was speaking in a scene that they were taking that wasn't taking audio. Like it wasn't recording their audio. They weren't mic'd up. They were just doing like the physical scene of like the B-roll or the flashback or whatever they were doing, like for a montage. So there was no need for them to speak, Blake Lively said, but then he was talking to her as Blake Lively. Like she took issue that he was out of character and speaking to her, but she also took issue with the fact that he was coming out of character and simultaneously the fact that he had no reason to speak because there was no audio recording. But that was him being out of character. He would need to be in character he would even need to be out of character to notice the audio equipment, right? Like the actor is the one noticing audio, not the Prince Charming or whatever he is. So it's like she's kind of making two arguments and I don't know how to reconcile it. She's like, he should have been in character. He should have been out of character. Again, if that was over your head, I understand because I just like rambled words, but I'm going to get into the little chart and hopefully be able to understand where that's coming from. Reading somebody else's comments. Yeah, he was the director. We covered that, Desiree. Okay, so according to Blake Lively, oh man, it gets so messy, y'all. Just buckle up because how long? We've already been in here almost an hour, and it's like we're just getting started with the cast and crew, of the lawsuit. Okay, so Blake Lively's making all these allegations, right? She's saying it was a hostile working environment. She's suing for retaliation and stuff like that. And she says in these lawsuits, well, the one lawsuit and the one complaint, which are very similar. Excuse me. Oh, footrest. Okay. She claims that what happened was filming was scheduled to resume after this strike. It was scheduled to resume January 5th last year, 2024, right? They had already started filming. It got shut down because of the strike. Then some stuff happened over the period of the strike. Blake Lively and some other castmates took issue with. So before they went back onto the set, my leg itches. Before they went back onto the set, to film, after this months-long strike incident, Blake Lively's lawyer had sent this pretty aggressive email to Justin Baldoni and them, and basically demanded a meeting and was making some demands. And so they had a meeting, and the meeting they had was a day before. I'm trying to make sure I got this right. It was a day before the filming resumed. Okay. So it's like, that's cutting it kind of close. Like, that's kind of like, what? And the meeting, there was all these people required to attend. Again, like, they had already kind of got the lawyers involved. They had already, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had started to make allegations and accusations. Other cast members and people on the crew or whatever, apparently, allegedly had started to make allegations. And Blake Lively was like, okay, that's cute. The writer's strike is over and all of that's over, but we got to still have a meeting because we got to have a come to Jesus before anybody's coming back on that set. And what had started to happen, it seems, from what I can understand, is that the cast and the crew started to move as a block with Blake Lively. So if she said we ain't going to something or we ain't doing something, then they wasn't doing it either. Again, she was alleged to be a executive producer on the film on it, or a producer on it. Now Baldoni ends up claiming that she like bullied them into that, but we can get into those specific allegations in a little bit. Blake Lively claims at some point, so suffice it to say, we'll get into the facts, but tension starts to build between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. They come to this meeting. Ryan Reynolds is there. It's at Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' New York City penthouse. And it's like a Sony representative is there. Baldoni is there. It's the day before they're going to go back to filming. This is all Blake Lively. Actually, this is, both of them allege this. Both of them agree on this part, that they, reading some of y'all's stuff, that I get so distracted when I read y'all's comments. They both agree. They both agree that they had that meeting the day before the filming was starting back up. And so from Blake Lively's side of things, the way they wrote it too was like the behavior that Baldoni and, Wayfarer and them been doing, they got to stop. So they wrote a bunch of this list, like no more commenting on Blake Lively's weight, no more improvising, no more doing this and that without a intimacy coordinator on set. But Justin Baldoni is like purporting to show receipts where there was intimacy coordinators around who were trying to work with Blake Lively, but she didn't want to meet with them yet or something. There is a little bit of going back and forth about this intimacy coordinator. And so it's like, for example, but there's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of little details, and some of the details don't perfectly match. So it still could be, they could both be saying true things and they could both still be in the wrong and still both could be saying true things, or whatever. But both of them agree that all parties left from that meeting agreeing on certain conditions. Now, this meeting ends up being a huge turning point, according to Baldoni. It's a meeting that happened in Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' apartment, in their penthouse. And it was the come to Jesus meeting before they were going to go back to filming after months of being offset. Blake Lively is saying that, she noticed some untoward behaviors. Now, if you listen to Justin Baldoni tell it, if you hear his side of the story, no, it wasn't him that was causing issues on the set. It was Blake. It was Blake Lively causing issues on the set. And from the very first moment that she could get her foot in the door, she started taking opportunities to seize control over things. And this brings forth, one of my questions where I feel like it's a gray area. Blake Lively and any actor and any actress and anybody playing a role, they're usually cast for the role because of some natural qualities about them that they naturally possess. Either what they look like, how they talk, what they're associated with, whatever, right? maybe their gender. I don't know. Sometimes not. But then you have people whose chosen job it is to be an actor, right? What is that? You know, it's bringing it to the forefront. What do we think? What are we going to accept? Because there's some pretty deep questions coming up here in this silly little pop culture lawsuit. Like, who gets to decide the clothes that the person was wearing when they're playing a character? Blake Lively takes issue with one day she wore a low-cut dress because she was breastfeeding. And when she opened her dress up, when she opened up her coat in a scene they were recording, this guy, Justin Baldoni, the director, he said, "I like your dress. That's a nice dress today." So could he have been being a perv? Could he have been, and that's what Blake Lively's kind of insinuating, like he's commenting, he wasn't commenting on the dress. He was commenting on my exposed, chest. And that was because I was breastfeeding and he was discriminating against me and making me uncomfortable. But then again, what if, again, just hear me out all the way through. I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm literally going back, forth. We're doing like ping pong, 1 point, 1 point. Some of y'all have like a knee jerk to start being like, how can you? And it's like, I'm literally on no one's side. Relax. It's not the kind of channel over here. Okay. Don't bully me. I think some of y'all take issue. It's like anything I say in somebody's favor, like P. Diddy, Jay-Z, Justin Baldoni, it must be bad or something. And it's like, I'm not trying to run PR good or bad for these people. I'm trying to get to the truth. That is the exercise I'm doing. I'm not a PR running channel. And you know what? Like, snip that and clip it and share it far and wide. Because that's one of the other major things been just blowing my mind here is just how nonchalant both of these parties have been with their different receipts and just blatantly, knowingly influencing the collective conscience, like the public opinion. And it's weird because are they not allowed to do that? Because what the people inside this industry would say is, and a lot of people, cynics would say is, this is how it works, stupid. It's your fault you haven't noticed it till this lawsuit came out. But then again, it's like, should this be how it works? Is it good this lawsuit is exposing this? I have 100% been a victim of orchestrated social media bot astroturfing attacks. Put a 1 in the chat if you've witnessed it. Don't let them gaslight me. Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen me be victim to an astroturfing campaign. Now, am I saying it's these same players? No, I am not. No, I am not. But both of these two people were seemingly engaging in similar. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I'll show you what I mean. It's going to start to become clear why it's just. So Blake Lively at some point begins to suspect she is being discriminated against in retaliation for bringing up her and other people's concerns at that meeting. The meeting itself was hostile, to say the least, from what they describe. The meeting before they went back to filming, it was like, apparently, according to Justin Baldoni's complaint allegations, Ryan Reynolds was berating Justin Baldoni. Ryan Reynolds, according to Justin Baldoni, was humiliating him, and he was acting like, aggressive toward Justin Baldoni, calling him a S harasser and stuff in front of other people. And again, remember, this was at Ryan Reynolds's penthouse. So it was like Justin Baldoni was in his house. Now, maybe I'll make a separate video. Maybe I'll make a separate video about the list of items that Blake Lively wanted ceased. Because I have some strong opinions on both sides. Like, I want to do like a tiered list. because some of the requests, some of the demands, I should say, that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the cast and the crew and stuff was making was like, Justin Baldoni has to stop talking to Blake Lively's dead dad. I shit you not. It was like Justin Baldoni, no more talking about talking to dead people, especially Blake Lively's dead dad. No more trying to sage Blake Lively's employees on set. No more talking about personal SUL interactions with your spouses. No more showing videos of your wife giving birth. I mean, it was some strange, obscure stuff. Some was very specific and stuff was like, what? Like, why did that make its way in? Now what I will say, some of the things on the list I totally agree with. Some of the things on the list it appears that I would agree with, and then I hear Justin Baldoni's rebuttal to why he did it, and I end up back in like this weird gray area where it's like when you have and I haven't seen the movie. I should watch it. But the movie plot is about domestic incidents, with the V and the islands at the end. And I think assault, I think underage encounters and things such as the sort. And so it's a heavy movie. And if you play in the lead main character role, I can imagine it probably takes a toll on your mental health. I assume, I'm not an actor, but I assume that actors who play roles that are heavy like that, that are in dealing with incidents of that type of heavy content matter, and also if that person has perhaps ever encountered that type of abuse or something in the past in their own, the actor, in their life or whatever. And then I do think some whole other weird stuff goes on about like being able to switch into the character, out of the character, like you're kind of that character but you're kind of not. I've talked about it before about Ariana Grande. I think it makes it confusing, like who, like if you, let's take Justin Baldoni off the screen so it's not like I'm talking about him and Blake Lively. Like, let's try to step away from your biases. Let's just use these two implements as, John and Jane or whatever. Like, if John finances a movie, owns the rights to make the movie, owns the rights to decide who's cast in the movie as the actor, owns and importantly to me, this is a marble on this scale, John, if he also he's also taking the financial risk. He's putting in, if the movie flops and fails, he takes the hit, not only reputationally, but also financially. Okay. So that's one marble. That's not dispositive. That doesn't mean he gets to decide what to do. That doesn't mean he gets to abuse people. I'm just saying that's one thing that's important to me is who is going to lose money if the movie flops? Who's paying for it? Who's paying to keep the lights on? And y'all know I'm no movie production studio host, production studio apologist by any means, but it's real easy to be, main star actress and come in and start making a bunch of demands. But whenever those demands flop, you aren't on the hook. For example, okay. And then on this other end of things, there's a actress who's casted to play. That's Jane. She's cast to play the role, and the role is a character, right? And I understand there's been a lot of talk lately about characters and what they portray and things like that. Like, if you ask me, there shouldn't be, for example, it comes up in this lawsuit, for example, a scene in Blake Lively's complaint where apparently they did like a reenactment scene of when the main character was like a kid, like 13. And it was an underage scene. I don't know if the actual actor playing the young Lily Bloom or whatever was underage, but the character of the scene was supposed to represent a 13-year-old, right? So if you're a 13-year-old character and you're putting it on the camera for the audience to look at, what outfits are you putting them in and who makes that choice? I think there is a default answer, it's like, well, the director does, whoever's the boss, like someone has to be in charge of the wardrobe department, maybe. Some people might say no. The person who's the character, the person who's playing that, the actor gets to make that choice because it's their body. Like, you know, there isn't a clear answer at all. And then whenever you look, you know, just in general, but then when you look at these specific allegations, I mean, that's up at issue here. But then there's so many other considerations. Like the fact that Blake Lively isn't just like, this ain't her first job. She and her husband own companies as well. I mean, they're very powerful. They've been around the block on this thing a few times. So it's like different categories. Again, I think what I'm going to do is put each and every one into a little tiered list because some categories of things I just don't feel like it's enough information to say that that's like harassment. Like the director and the producer and the owner of a movie saying, I like the outfit that you chose for yourself from the wardrobe department, the pre-approved wardrobe. I like that outfit. I like that. I'm so sorry, y'all. We have to draw the line somewhere. We do have to draw the line somewhere because at some point, we can't have the boss who's in charge say that they like a part of the production. I mean, again, I didn't make these rules, but it's like, it's confusing. It's confusing. Are they supposed to stay in character? Or are they not? Then you have Blake Lively making other types of demands. Like, for example, she wanted to sign pretty much an amendment to her contract. She wanted like an amendment. It's called a rider. And she wanted a nudity rider. What she claims is that there was a scene where her character had to give birth. Okay. Now, this is another one I want to just kind of talk through a little bit. Because I see both sides. You know, I see some sides, some of her points, and I don't see some of her points. She says it wasn't until the day of the scene where she's supposed to be having to give birth as the character, you know, that these two guys right here, Justin and Jamey Heath and Baldoni, they are Baldoni and Heath. They were so-called allegedly, according to Blake, pressuring her to do like a nude scene from the bottom down, but like with that one like little strip of cloth, that little strip, which sounds horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Let me just finish Blake her allegations. She claims that the set that day was completely chaotic. It was a mess. It was loud. There wasn't like necessarily like pre-approved anybody. It was just like people in and out. And here she is on a hospital bed, feet in the stirrups, spread eagle with a little piece of fabric. And she was trying to, I mean, thinking about it, it is horrifying. If this happened for real, I would be traumatized by the experience as well. I might be trying to sue somebody over it too. But she's saying that like she would ask somebody for something to cover up with between takes or whatever, and it would take them a long time to give it to her or whatever, and all that. So the interesting thing about that allegation, now it gets worse. Hold on, take a break here. The interesting thing about this allegation is that Justin Baldoni doesn't address this allegation at all. You know, like for the breastfeeding one, we had that example where it's like he came back and said, well, look, she invited me in while pumping. Well, pumping's not breastfeeding, and barging in is not the same as being invited, but that gives you a little something. Justin don't mention this one about the giving birth scene. He doesn't deny it. From what I recall, maybe he did and I missed that sentence, or, you know, I skipped a page or something. Maybe he did. But from what I remember, he did not. They don't address it. So it is kind of like, that is a pretty bad one. I'm biased. I'm a woman. I don't want to be like that in a situation like that. I mean, I would be waiting for a blanket for about 30 seconds and I would say goodbye. I'm leaving. We're going to have to do AI or something, because no, we're not doing it. I tried and no. I mean, so that would be horrifying if true. Justin Baldoni, to my recollection, doesn't dispute it specifically about the giving the birth scene. And then it gets worse. It does, if true. Now, again, if this wasn't true, I don't know why Justin wouldn't have said, and that whole thing about the giving birth thing is false. I don't know. Or maybe it wasn't included in the first complaint, and this is one of the new allegations. Could be that. But what she says is, this is horrifying. So there's one item on the list that's like, no more letting your personal friends be on set during nudity scenes. And Blake Lively had said that that needed to be one of the conditions before they were returning to work. She's like, before we come back, no more letting your friends and your personal friends and your pals just on set during while we're nude and doing simulated sex scenes and all of that. And I'm like, what is that? Why is that on the list? Well, come to find out, Blake Lively alleges that while she's there, you know, feet in stirrups, as it were, birth scene, maybe she got up for this portion, but she describes that she's approached by Justin Baldoni and another man who she, I guess, didn't know. And Baldoni's like, this is one of my best friends. He's going to be the OBGYN for the given birth scene. Don't take my word for it. Let me pull that up. I want y'all to see that. I want y'all to see what this lady is talking about. Because if this is not true, I'm going to be... This better not be a lie. Okay. It's on page 20 of Blake Lively's 111-page filing. Oh, I got the wrong thing up. Hold on. Yeah, I didn't see these allegations, and I did, I know I started this video saying I really want to just kind of start relying on, again, more on just court and court file documents, because these tabloids lie, as we know, and I'm being reminded of it, you know, undeniably in this lawsuit, because no matter what, one of these sides must be telling, you know, some version of the truth, and it's just so egregious and undeniable. So, but yes, I have seen the allegations that this all stemmed from a jealousy between Ryan Reynolds and this extremely handsome It Ends With Us actor who has money and a production company and power. And I also think there was a little bit of a tiff with one of their shared PR publicists. I think they had a little bit of a flipper. They had a publicist kind of flip allegiances, and alliances do shift. So here is Blake Lively's allegation in her own federal court filing. It says, Miss Lively was not provided. Yeah, this is bad. Okay, we'll just read paragraph 52. When the birth scene was filmed, the set was chaotic, crowded. This is Blake Lively's allegation, and utterly lacking in standard industry protections for filming nude scenes, such as what was missing. She says, choreographing the scene with an intimacy coordinator, having a signed nudity rider. I think maybe she wants something signed every time she does a nude scene. Or simply turning off the monitors so that the scene was not broadcast to all crew on set and their personal phones and iPad. And now I have a hunch. Nobody better calling it leaking a clue, and nobody better call it uncovering or a shocking revelation, because it's a public record and mixed with a hunch. Okay. But I have a hunch. A lot of the tension also started rising up because Blake Lively was shot in some vulnerable, on camera in some vulnerable positions that maybe she considered to perhaps be unflattering. I have a hunch, it's a suspicion, it's a gut feeling, it's a prediction that we're going to see that it's going to come down to the ownership and the editing and the viewing and the who has the footage. I feel like Blake Lively felt pressured, and she did do a scene, and then she realized that it was broadcasted more than she thought it was, and that other people saw it and maybe they were laughing or something. This is all speculation. I'm basing it on this public document that has not left the screen that I just, read. And she's obviously taking issue with the fact that the scene was broadcasted to the crew onto their personal phones and their iPads. Mr. Heath and Baldoni, that's the Wayfarer people, failed to close the set. They allowed non-essential crew to pass through while Blake Lively was mostly nude with her legs spread wide open in stirrups. Listen, it is so horrifying. I'm not sure I could do it. And here's the thing too. You probably do got to get a little bit of dissociated to be in that situation. And so you probably are expecting the people around you, men, women, and otherwise, to protect you, especially if this is supposed to be a trauma-informed production. That's not me saying I fully am on Blake Lively's side or anything. I'm just saying, man or woman, y'all can't imagine sitting there simulating a birth scene. I'm sure you got to get I don't acting is hard. And you're screaming, faking a birth scene. It's hard to do the job that you need to do if people are in there and won't let you be in the character for at least this duration of the scene. And if you're in a vulnerable position acting out a scene that's birth, and Blake Lively, hate her or love her, is a mother. And if you have given birth as a mother, then you know that it's a particularly intense experience. Sometimes it can be very traumatic. And here's Blake Lively reenacting a birth scene or whatever. Anybody, put somebody else there if you don't have any sympathy for her. Put yourself there. You don't want to be spread eagle with a little see-through Band-Aid, ace bandage, cloth, string, and Joe Schmo with his wah-wah and his Duncan is walking through, scratching his butt crack or something. You know what I mean? No, what the hell? What can we get this as a need to know situation so I can do my giving birth scene in peace? And then they're broadcasting it to the people's phones. What? That is crazy. Yes. And I don't want anybody to say I'm victim blaming or something, because she should have never been put in that situation. But somebody had said, at some point you got to advocate for yourself. I agree. I lost this. Whoever had said some point you got to advocate for yourself. And for me, I do have a knee jerk, I ain't doing that. Now, that being said, Blake Lively is a professional actor. Whether you believe that she is talented or not, she has made it a living being an actress. And so I'm sure there's been many scenes which were uncomfortable, which she could have easily said, or any actor can easily say, I'm getting out of here. I don't want to. No, there's too many people. You got to just push through or the movie don't get made. But still at the same time, I can somewhat see how that could be a really uncomfortable experience. Okay, so she goes on in the description of it. The non-essential people that day were Wayfarer co-chairman. So he owns the movie. Sarowitz. Is Sarowitz who I thought, what's his name, Heath was the whole time? Now, this Sarowitz guy flew in. He might be the lawyer, Sarowitz. He flew in for one of his few set visits. So she's saying he wasn't ever on set, and then he came in and watched me give fake birth. Blake Lively, she says, was not provided with anything to cover herself with between takes. Until after she made multiple requests. See that right there? We're not doing another take till y'all bring me my blankie. Ain't going to be another take. But that's why I'm not an actor. That's why I got filtered out early, probably. Let's see. Miss Lively became even more alarmed. Here's the part about the best friend. Became even more alarmed when Mr. Baldoni introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, when ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filled by a local actor. So they would do a little casting call. He's got his friend coming in. Now this part, again, I don't know if this allegation is true. And I don't know if she made this allegation in that first complaint. But I don't recall Justin Baldoni and them rebutting. I don't recall them addressing this allegation that the best friend played the OBGYN. Okay. So one of her things on the list that night at the infamous meeting of the Manhattan New York City penthouse where allegedly Ryan Reynolds went all Jerry Springer on Justin Baldoni and had a big list of stuff. One of the things on the list was you can't have your friends being the actors no more. You got to go through the regular talent agency routes and all of that. It says, Miss Lively felt that the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her downstairs area for a birth scene, was invasive and humiliating. I don't think I would like that either, but I don't think I would like to do this scene. I think if I was auditioning for a role and I had to give birth, I would be like, pass. I'm gonna give birth on camera scene. Ew. Like, just because of this, right? It seems like vulnerable, and then you have all these like numpties putting their friends in the role, which, if true, again, he didn't say it wasn't true yet. He may still come out and do just that. Okay, to add insult to injury, Mr. Heath, that's the Wayfarer guy, approached Miss Lively and her assistant on set and started playing a video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart. Miss Lively thought he was showing her corn and stopped him from showing. Mr. Heath, the one playing this video, explained the video was of his wife giving birth. Blake was alarmed and asked Mr. Heath if the wife knew he was sharing that video, to which Mr. Heath said she isn't weird about this stuff, as if it was Miss Lively who was weird for not welcoming it. That's one where I could see it go both ways. It's a little still too ambiguous for me. Like, it could be that Blake Lively, I do see where she's coming from, right? Like, even if I'm playing a role where I'm having to give fake birth or whatever, I would like some advance notice before you just shoving something in my face with a lady with her legs wide open for any reason. I need a little bit of context, a little bit, before that. Again, I don't know if that's exactly true. Now, Justin Baldoni has admitted that he did indeed show a video of his wife giving birth to Blake Lively. But Justin Baldoni said that was for the purposes of developing the scene, because there was, again, it is a gray area. I'm sorry, it just is. He's the director of the scene. It's his, everything is on the line for his reputation if the scene don't go as planned. But that's not, if the scene don't go good and if it flops, that doesn't mean he has free reign. I'm just going to reiterate that. I've said it already, but that doesn't mean he should be able to do everything. But like, reference source material, like if you can't watch a woman give birth on a video after being adequately warned and after being given the notice and stuff, I don't think he should have shoved it in her face like that. But if you can't even watch a video of somebody giving birth as a director is trying to show it to you for a scene that the job you chose to do and tried out to do requires you to do that scene, I do understand if the actor has an issue with the scene. Blake Lively makes some good points, like some of this stuff was added on after. I didn't agree to this, is what she would say. Some of this stuff I didn't agree to. Like, I didn't agree to be nude in the birth scene. But then I went farther. I went on with it anyway. Oh, that's my spot. Sorry. So she's saying some of this stuff she didn't, and they added it on after. On that stuff, I'm with her on that. You know what? Like, you shouldn't be pressured on set the day of to be naked. Counter argument, if I'm doing a birth scene as the actor, I assume they're probably going to want me in that kind of outfit. I assume they're not going to be like, see, Blake Lively, she takes issue with the fact that they wanted her to take the pants off or whatever. She says that they were both kind of pressuring her and saying, women don't give birth with their pants on. And this was sexual harassment, according to her. And it's like, it could have been. It totally could have been. But it's not enough information for me. Like, it is a true statement. We are filming a film. We are filming a scene of a woman giving birth. And if you're wearing pants, it's going to be a little bit unbelievable. So that is a true statement. Now, that's not the same thing as get over it, take your pants off. That's not me saying she already knew or should have knew. That's me saying I might would have knew and expected that's what they would want. They might have made that expectation, not thinking about it, which I guess maybe that's against the rules. And if so, then, you know, if they broke a law, they should be held responsible. But it's not as cut and dry as Blake Lively tries to make it. And I was going to say it's also not as cut and dry as the, what are these people? Baldoni and them try to make it either, but they don't really try to make it cut and dry. Like most of their lawsuit, the stuff I can really remember, it has to do with defense. They're taking a defensive posture. So they're addressing things which have been said and providing supplemental information or directly opposing or what is the word I'm looking for? Directly disputing it. It's like Justin Baldoni it's like almost like the way it's happened so far. It's almost like no matter who filed first, Blake Lively's allegations are the roadmap upon which the Baldoni lawsuit is kind of gripping. Even though he's not suing her, he's suing the New York Times. Blake Lively goes on to say, she and her assistant excused themselves. They didn't want to see the video of the lady giving birth. Stunned that Mr. Heath had shown them a nude video. Again, there is in the Baldoni lawsuit, there is a screenshot of the video he admits to showing Blake Lively, and it's pretty. It's, again, I want to just bring your attention back to this map. It's because of all of the different hats he's wearing. There should maybe, to avoid conflicts like this, should be a little bit of a division of power, because on the one hand, Justin Baldoni is the one sitting there kissing. He's in the scene kissing. Not the birth scene. I don't think the birth scene's a different one, right? He's the boss. He's got all these jobs, and it's like, they all weigh different. Doesn't the director of a movie get to decide if there's a birth scene or not? If there was a birth scene, who's the decider? Like Blake Lively had also put other conditions on here, like retroactive application of not using any footage that had already been shot before. If the footage had to do with like a nude or a sex scene. Like Blake Lively started to impose ownership over the character of Lily Bloom. So, for example, Blake Lively started to say she wanted to have creative final say over, for example, from what I understand, like the body double close-ups, like how the shots were of the body double. Like Blake Lively wanted to have say over that. Blake Lively was demanding in her demands that they redo a scene or get appropriate nudity writers for a scene that had to do with the young actress who was playing the young Lily Bloom. So it was as if, it appeared to me, as if Blake Lively was beginning to take ownership, possession, or control over the character of Lily Bloom. And my first knee-jerk reaction was she shouldn't be able to do that, because it's not like that character is intricately woven in as one character of an entire script. Like the whole movie, it's like pulling out one thread of the, you know, whatever, blanket or whatever. It's like, okay, Samified by Sam said, beep, beep, hold up. In regards to his best friend, Adam Monsheen, he received a bachelor's of fine art. Oh, in acting. So he's an actor from University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and his master's in fine art in acting. So is he an actor by trade? This adds context. See what I mean, y'all? This is, thank you, Samified by Sam, because and thank you also for the $4.99 super chat. This is what I want to demonstrate. So I want to show y'all. There's like little ting, ting. It's not like huge. It's like little tit for tats. And it's like, okay, maybe it's his best friend, but he's an actor. That's pretty important material factor, you know? Let's see. Kraken Studio. Welcome to the membership. Member for 3 months. Thanks so much, Darth, for the 149 super sticker. I might have already told you thank you, but if I did, thank you again. If not, thank you again anyway. Okay. Because here's the thing, y'all. Blake Lively, the human, to be fair to her, also has to put on a bunch of hats, regardless of if she has those names up under her name or not, right? Because let's just say there was different people in the roles of director, producer, co-star. Let's say this guy wasn't so involved, which I'm not saying he's not allowed to be. Don't take anything from this video as me saying we should implement. No. If some rich dude wants to buy the rights to make a movie, then he or she should be able to do that. It should be transparent. It should be ethical, all that. But why somebody can't direct and produce and co-star? Well, then there goes YouTubers. I direct and produce and co-star in my shit all the time. I shouldn't be allowed to do that. So I'm going to be a little bit First Amendment-y on that. But it does create an interesting issue because let's start this from the perspective. Let's do a perspective zoom into Blake Lively. Let's pretend to be in her spot for a second. You're Blake Lively. You're an actress. That's your job. You showed up to act. That's what you're getting paid to do. But you also a wife. You also a mother in real life. You got the 4 kids. You got the Ryan Reynolds. You're kind of a mogul's wife. You're kind of, it girl, whatever. You got a reputation to uphold. And you're just a human being, right? I think. Last I checked. I don't really know. I wasn't there. But, you can imagine some of the situations that she describes. Maybe some of y'all can. That it's like, yeah, no, I see where she's coming from on that one thing. Like, I wouldn't want to be spread eagle with the stirrups and then meeting somebody's friend. And then it's like, But then again, maybe Justin Baldoni's like, I know my friend. I trust this man. I got him on set because I knew he wasn't going to try no funny business. And if he did, that's my friend. I could hold me. He could come back with that. That would put something in favor on his side. No, I mean, and Super Duper Fly, I really just truly, it's like, I'm almost exhausted. Like, I almost feel like I don't even get to talk anymore because it's like, truly, no matter how many disclaimers I make, how many times I say this isn't me saying one side other, it's like I just feel like pressure to like pick a side. Like, I know a lot of y'all have, but I just want to let you know I don't do that. And this is far too early because you might have seen over the last 6 months, let's say you've been following Diddy, it makes people look kind of stupid when they go so freaking hard on this one side of things and they're calling everybody else everything but a child of God. How you gonna see, making predictions and all kinds of stuff that they could not possibly know, and then it don't happen. Then you've like made your bed. I'm not doing that. I'm not. It ain't because I don't want to look stupid. It's because I want to get to the truth. I don't want to run ops. Justin Baldoni, Jamey Heath, none of these people's paying me. I want to run ops for them. Hell no. They probably both telling some truth. And they probably both sides telling maybe not quite the full story, maybe leaving some stuff out. Thank you, Launa. Too early to know. Megan Face, that's interesting you say that, but this little detail would actually still go into the favor of actually, it wouldn't even matter because the 2 births that they tried to show were the pool, but were the home births. So if they all 3 had home births, then she had already seen that if she had one. I don't know who had a home birth, who didn't, but the pictures of those 2 that I saw, the picture of the one I saw in the comments admitting to the one I saw was looked like home. It's too early to know. Yep. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. Okay. So where were we at in the birth scene? Right. Okay. So the reason I can see it being a gray area is the following. Like, let's say Blake Lively, let's say there was an intimacy coordinator. Let's say there was a producer. Let's say there was a film financer and then the director. Like, it is a little bit. It is a little bit of a conflict of interest for the best interests of the cast and the crew, right? Like the directors and the financiers of the movie specifically have a financial interest in making sure the movie does good, which means maybe they would be incentivized to put some stuff in there that they knew people would run to the theaters to watch, but like maybe that would hurt the, traumatize or harm some way, like a cast member or something. There's a conflict of interest at that point, because the interest of what the money kind of then conflicts with what's for the best for people. So then they bring that down to a smaller level of like Blake Lively wanting to choose the clothes for her own character and wanting to kind of speak for Lily Bloom, the character. No matter if it was her Blake Lively playing the Lily Bloom, or no matter if it was the little younger actress, or no matter if it was the body stunt double. Then she wanted to have the stunt double then do the intimate scenes unless they were close-ups, and she wanted final edit on what she looked like. And I do understand why you would want those things, but I do feel like once you've already agreed to do a movie, to then start making those demands, it does require like a lot of afterthought once things have already been thought about. Like she wanted to redo her whole wardrobe. Like she wanted to be in charge of her character's wardrobe, and it brings to the forefront, like who should be in charge of that character's wardrobe? Should it be Justin? Should it be Jamey? Should it be Lily Bloom? Whoever that is, it seems poorly managed, C. Miller said. So Blake says that at some point, she began to be retaliated against for bringing these issues up to the forefront. And the retaliation was a secret PR media takedown. She alleges that the owners, the Wayfarer people on the other side over there, they wanted to get out in front of Blake Lively exposing the behaviors, the conduct that prompted her to demand the meeting and prompted her to have her lawyer send a letter and prompted her to make all these demands, including don't talk to my dead dad no more. And they agreed to these things, but Blake starts to believe that around the middle of August, maybe early August, August 10th, 2024, that is whenever a PR and a marketing campaign started to begin to take down her reputation. She says the PR coverage of her was neutral. All of a sudden, this PR campaign starts. Now, as a counter argument, that is exactly the same time where the old videos of her started resurfacing. Old videos of her doing interviews, being, quote, a mean girl, being a, quote, bully. I did see a couple of them. One of them, she's laughing and giggling with her friend. And then there was like even maybe a lady came out and said that was the worst interview she ever did and she cried or something. I don't know if that's true. I wasn't there. The father's... I don't know what you're talking about, Megan. Anyway, so I literally cannot read y'all's damn comments because I get so distracted. Yeah, we're talking about Stephanie Jones. So Blake Lively alleges this PR campaign happened. Now, I did another video about this. The first video I did about it, we talked about that Jed Wallace. If you weren't here when I talked about that, I'm talking about him right here. We're not going to talk about him right now. But he got dragged in through this lady, Melissa Nathan. Melissa Nathan was dragged in from Jennifer Abel. And Jennifer Abel is a little baby succulent off of this woman, Stephanie Jones. Now, Stephanie Jones, you need to know, it's being put out there like she's a flipper. She's a flipper. She's a flopper. That's what it's being put out there as. Because why? Why do I have that opinion? Because she used to be all the way up until and including in August 2024 of this very year last year, 2024. So 4 months ago, up until a few months ago, this lady, Stephanie Jones, she was a publicist for Justin Baldoni. Indeed, and in fact, Justin Baldoni includes receipts of emails and quotes quotes, citations from this lady over here, this Stephanie Jones, for this very PR campaign. There's receipts in here of Justin Baldoni and Stephanie Jones talking. She's the publicist, okay? But then there's all these leaked text message exchanges that got pushed out into the public domain because they came through the lawyer and all that. Well, where did those come from, you might be wondering? Stephanie Jones, this lady, okay? How did she have them, you might be wondering? Well, it's because this lady, Jennifer Abel, used to work for Stephanie Jones up until recently, like last year or something. Jennifer Abel, when she's leaving her job at Stephanie Jones, who again, they're both working for Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer and all them, right? These two are working for them. Stephanie Jones, Jennifer Abel, Stephanie is like this one of these powerhouse, like Lou Taylor, like take no, type of boss babe publicists. I think she represented one of the Paul brothers, maybe Bezos or one. I mean, these people are huge. All these people are big publicists. She was Baldoni and Wayfarer and them's publicist. And for her working was Jennifer Abel. Jennifer Abel, I don't know, quit, got fired, whatever. They go their separate ways. And before she can leave, the allegation is, who's making this allegation? Justin Baldoni. In his complaint against the New York Times. Before she can physically leave the building, it's like what they're trying to make it look like, Jennifer Abel has to hand over all her cell phone, even her personal cell phone, to Stephanie. Why? Because Stephanie had already started getting into a little bit of a beef with Justin. Why? Because Justin, the boss, because something happens with these publicists. They start, and you can see it if you read these text messages, they start to think that because you hired them for a certain expertise, that they're the boss. They start to think they get to tell you what to do. And then whenever you remind them you work for them, or whenever you stop using them for stuff, they acting like, they want to get mad or whatever. But this is what happened in this situation, according to Justin Baldoni. There was some leaks that happened to the Daily Mail while Stephanie Jones from Jones Works was the publicist. And it had to do with this story, I believe. Actually, I don't know if it had to do with this story for sure, but for sure, Stephanie Jones worked on this story. So in this lawsuit, already in the last several months, Stephanie Jones has been kind of on both sides, because she started out on the side of the lawsuit, Stephanie Jones did, where she started out trying to help Justin Baldoni against Blake Lively. Do you see the mind blow here? Stephanie Jones was the boss. She's the publicist, boss of Jennifer Abel. But really, who's the real boss is Justin and Wayfarer, and they're hiring this company. Stephanie Jones parts ways from Justin Baldoni because she's leaking stuff to Daily Mail he doesn't want leaked, according to him. She parts ways with Jennifer Abel, who then gets sucked on over into Justin Baldoni. So now she's still working for Justin Baldoni. So Justin kind of usurped Jennifer Abel. Jennifer Abel's getting sued. Now, here's another interesting wrinkle. Stephanie Jones also just now sued Baldoni. So now Blake Lively and Stephanie Jones, their alliances have shifted, because it used to be in August, Stephanie Jones was helping Justin Baldoni to counteract Blake Lively. But now both Stephanie Jones and Blake Lively are suing Justin Baldoni, and both of them are suing over this PR campaign. Now, Jennifer Abel claims, Baldoni claims that this was all nefarious and planned. This was all illegal. This is a violation of contracts that Stephanie Jones signed. I mean, imagine it. Somebody's your publicist and you trust them with everything, and then they leak your private text messages, and it seems to be from a way that appears legal. I would freak out. So scary, but then again, I can't imagine issues that are of higher public import that should be public. I mean, we should know about this stuff. Let me show y'all what I mean. Okay. So here's y'all see how the web's kind of starting to web a little bit, like why they are there and stuff. That's why these are there like that. So if you follow the web down a little bit, Jennifer Abel. She's a publicist. She owns a PR company. And you also have Melissa Nathan. So this contact had already existed, right? I should probably make another arrow that's going straight from Justin Baldoni to Jennifer Abel. But again, at some point, these ties get severed. And it's Justin over here with Jennifer. They end up together, like as PR, publicist, whatever. So Jennifer, okay. So this is where another place it gets confusing. All right. I'm glad my memory got tripped. There's another place it gets confusing. If you look at the text messages that got released, if you look at them, what you can clearly see with the text messages from Baldoni's side is you can clearly see that they are working a counter op. They are working to counter what I believe. To me, it appears obvious that if you're looking at these text messages that are included in both these lawsuits as a whole, all three of them really, as a whole, it is pretty clear that Justin Baldoni hired extra PR crisis managers because he believed Blake Lively was leveraging the media to orchestrate a hostile takeover. Based on the evidence that I have seen so far, I believe, and it appears, that Justin and Wayfarer and them hired this campaign, this extra people. Like they hired the extra people they hired were Tag. And then there's like a subcontractor, Jed Wallace, who did the Reddit stuff, apparently, according to the allegations. Shout out to Simply Monica in the chat. Yeah, the squirrels are acting up in the chat today. Sorry. I'm just, when you start talking about a new topic, the bots of that person come. So you just have to have a few days of a wave of blocking them. Okay. So look at this. This is egregious. And it ticked me off. And you might have been on here last night whenever I was a little emo. And I was like, a lot of us might have known recently or maybe for a while, the news is up to some funny business and stuff that, they trying to present out as if it's news is really just bought and paid for article by some PR people or whatever. I'm telling y'all, a lot of people still don't realize that they still are where I was 4 or 5 years ago, thinking that pretty much you can trust the news. And sometimes they accidentally mess up and it's never on purpose. A lot of people still believe that, but with this lawsuit and with allegations coming out about it surrounding it, I believe a floodgate is going to open, and it's going to be undeniable to the common, everyday, average layperson. And it's going to be because of examples like this. This is the, I don't know what, canary in the coal mine. This is the Britney Spears was never given a dementia hearing, right? This is the, you can't deny it. She's out here, there's certain things that no one can gaslight me. No one can gaslight it. This is one. Let me show you what I mean. In the allegation of sometimes the news is just up to some funny business. Okay. Melissa Nathan, another publicist, she was pulled in as a crisis manager by this Jennifer Abel, who still had kept her allegiance to Justin. Again, it appears Stephanie Jones has not kept her allegiance to Justin. She sued him, remember? And she leaked all those private texts and she got her phone. She wouldn't let her leave the building and all that before she got the private text. Now Justin's mad about it. Okay. So the lady whose phone got took and who's still on Justin Baldoni's side, who used to work for her, but doesn't any longer. She has her own company. She just started it in June during the writer's strike. Her name's Melissa Nathan. Okay. Melissa Nathan is very present on these group chats. And she's actually the one who brought on Jed Wallace because she had worked with him before. Now, Jed Wallace is an interesting character because he's all linked in with the Bam Margera conservatorship, the Bam Margera lawsuit with Paramount and MTV. Jed Wallace was the person who came on the camera on the FaceTime every day with Bam, according to Bam's lawsuit. Jed Wallace from Street Relations came on to the FaceTime every day to make sure Bam Margera was taking his medicine every day so that he didn't get kicked off of Jackass the movie. But come to find out, Jed Wallace was also somehow hired to do Reddit against Blake Lively. What is this? It's just everyone's actually just actors. What is this? Unless there's two Jed Wallaces with two street relations. I mean, I guess that's possible. So Sarah, so Page Six has written hit pieces against Bam. And indeed, and in fact, Lima Yevrimovich relies on some such Page Six articles, not by anybody in particular that I'm mentioning, just Page Six, the publication, which is a New York Post publication. They rely on these articles about, Bam was in a hotel ripping somebody's titty out or something, the implant or whatever. And then there was like whatever, minder at the room or whatever it was. Lima tries to say that I defamed her because the Page Six article said something different. Because the Page Six article said something different than the body camera and the 911 call. And I made a video showing y'all the differences. And Lima's like, no, you should have took the Page Six article for face value. Again, it wasn't written by anyone in particular that I can think of, but it's Page Six. They also rely on Page Six articles to keep Wendy Williams in a conservatorship. Her guardian is constantly citing Page Six. So look how easy it is to get something put in Page Six if you have a friend working there. Let me show y'all. Here's Exhibit A. Melissa Nathan, crisis manager, hired on by this lady, Jennifer A. Bell. Boom. Trying to help Justin Baldoni. What they trying to do? They going against Blake Lively. Any way possible. Spread the narrative out. There's all kinds of tactics, and they're tagging in. Here's Melissa Nathan. Not only does Melissa Nathan bring in Jed Wallace, boom, boom, wham, bam, social. We're doing social manipulate. We're doing Reddit. It's looking good on Reddit. We got Jed Wallace. We citing $175,000 for 3 months or $25,000 a month. I mean, it's happening. The wheels are turning. The articles are coming out. They're texting each other about it. And then wouldn't you know, one such article written is by a woman by the name of Sarah Nathan. One such article about Blake Lively being canceled or whatever. Right? We're running anti-Blake Lively ops because they're hired to do so. Sarah Nathan is the sister of the PR agency owner, Melissa Nathan. Okay, one more time. The PR person gets hired and hits up her sister, who works at Page Six, to write a article, and it actually came out. They purport to have text messages showing this. Let me see. It's in Blake Lively's complaint. Page 49, paragraph 146. Here's that allegation. This is a good question, isn't it? You know, I got a map. It's a good question, isn't it? Okay. Here is what are we on Blake Lively's complaint in federal court. This is the Southern District of New York, and paragraph 146. Let's start at 145 because I have a box here for some reason. Okay. Pay close attention to the date, August 8th, 2024. Okay. Blake Lively, is it up? Can y'all see it? Blake Lively later goes on to say that she noticed a shift in negative media toward her on August 10th, 2024. On August 10th, 2024, the media around her shifted into the negative, and she's saying that it's because right around then is whenever this PR campaign against her started. Now, she's alleging to the court that it's because of harassment and retaliation for bringing up issues that were happening on set. But Justin Baldoni and a lot of YouTube commentators and stuff have been saying ain't nothing to do with what happened on set. It's because those videos resurfaced, and the videos resurfacing had nothing to do with Justin Baldoni. That just resurfaced. People just don't like Blake Lively, and she was coming up in the news because the movie was being recorded. I don't know which one's true. But Blake Lively's complaint says on August 8th, 2024, so right around when this was all kind of kicking off, the like crisis management PR anti-Blake Lively allegation of a campaign, she stated that the situation had moved. Miss Abel or Abel, I don't remember what else, Jennifer Abel. Miss Abel stated the situation had moved from just monitoring and scenario planning to Miss Nathan and me having an off-the-record conversation with outlets such as the Today Show. Now, ding, 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 ding. Since we're on the web real quick, the Today Show is exactly who got the exclusive. No, it was NBC. Today Show is exactly who has. No, I think it is. Let me pull it up on the map. Let me see. Today Show is who the lawyer came out and did an interview with today. Yeah, the Today Show. Okay, so this is interesting connection here. Okay. It's a text message exchange between Melissa Nathan of TAG, right? The crisis PR one, and the one who has a sister at Page 6, Melissa Nathan, her. She's having a text message conversation with Abel, who had her phone confiscated, and now she's just kind of on her own now. She left that other one. Abel and Nathan are having a conversation. Abel stated the situation had moved from just monitoring and scenario planning. Okay, so when you come into a crisis as a crisis PR manager, you come in during a crisis, and every crisis is different. Every single crisis is different. And so you come in and you just take an assessment, and you do a consultation at first, and you say, here's the different things that could be going on. I haven't done an assessment yet, but here's all the different services my company can offer. I can help you to craft social media statements. I can help you to craft press releases. I can be the publicist that appears on your behalf if you want me to go and speak as your representative. Stuff like that. That's what a crisis PR manager can do, or a crisis PR consultant. It's really not like set in stone. It's someone who you call in a crisis, and the crisis is different each time. You might call a different crisis manager each time. Sometimes the crisis is legal. Sometimes there's legal allegations. Sometimes the crisis is social media. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like to get the SEC off your back. So it's all different. So here you have Melissa Nathan from the TAG company, who has the sister at Page 6 or whatever. She's saying, she had to be consulted off the record, and she went and talked to the Today Show. So they're telling us that it's okay. So these are little clues that we can. I hate saying clue now because they're acting like it's freaking like not public information that you can use inductive reasoning. Like Miss Nathan had an off the record conversation with the Today Show. It seems to me that Miss Nathan was brought in because she has bigger, heavier hitting connections. Do you see what I mean? It could be. This is a speculation. Let me show you how my brain is working. There's two reasons you hire a PR manager. Two reasons you hire somebody for a job whenever you're at this level. Two reasons you hire somebody for a job. Obviously, the job needs to be done, but why would you hire that person? Either because you really trust them and you know they got your back. Maybe they're not even that good at the job, right? Like how many of these, stories have you heard of the athletes that have had their like manager be their best friend from high school or whatever? It's like, is it Lou Taylor? Is that person as with the ropes as a Lou Taylor? No. But do you know for a fact that person has your back? Yeah. I mean, more so. So you could hire somebody because they're loyal, or you can hire somebody because of the actual deliverable, and you might not trust them as far as you could throw them, right? Think about it. If you're Justin Baldoni and Jamey Heath, you're having to hire these people, right? You just now got burnt bad by this lady, right? She was your go-to. You trusted her. She's giving to this lady. She was just helping you work against her. Now, can you imagine the absolute mind-numbing, like, betrayal. Now, once you get to that level, I bet you it happens all the time. I bet you this is just run of the mill. I bet you. I don't know, maybe not. But it's like, all right, well, I trust this girl, and she got effed over by Shannon too. I mean, what's her name? Stephanie too. So let me keep her on. But she was just a little peon. She just started her agency right now in June. So we got to get somebody that got connections at Page Six. We got to get somebody that can get me, she's coming out with New York Times. I need somebody that can get me somewhere. I speculate. So that's how, in my opinion, I believe for right now, with the information I currently have access to, Melissa Nathan gets dragged on. Then Melissa Nathan comes in and she's like, look, there's all this stuff going on online, Reddits and stuff. I don't really know how to do that. I got this guy, Jed Wallace in Texas. I can bring him on. There's like another guy in Hawaii or something that maybe he can come on, but I can get you some quotes. But like, I think this needs to be done. It's not just, oh, let's make a press release. It's let's influence the public narrative. And therein lies the big question of this case, other than the other big question I asked, which is like, who gets to decide for an actress? What's protocol? What scene does she has to do? What clothes they have to wear? Who's in charge? Who owns it? That's a question. But then also, like, this is legal, right? Is it allowed? Is it something that we, the people, are okay with? Because it's like, on the one hand, I know a lot of us know. On the one hand, I know a lot of us know. A tabloid is a tabloid, and this is how it happens, right? In my opinion, it gives it it hits with a harder punch that Melissa Nathan is sisters with the Page Six author who indeed wrote a story about Blake. And like, it's like I said, undeniable. Let me show y'all where it says it, so you're not taking my word for it. This is what I'm basing my opinion on. Okay. So this is where it said, Miss Nathan had the conversation off record along with this younger one, I think. They talked to the Today Show. So is Melissa Nathan maybe still helping them? Did they use her? Did they use her connection today, on this very day of January 3rd, 2025, to get on the Today Show? Did they use this connection? I don't know. Paragraph 146 says, on August 9th, so the next day, 2024, Miss Nathan, so the one they had just brought on, the crisis manager, indicated to Miss Abel that she was on the phone with her sister, Sarah Nathan, a journalist at the New York Post and contributor at Page Six. She remarked that Mr. Baldoni's religion should be taken out from media coverage. Okay, so this is Blake Lively saying they wanted Mr. Baldoni's religion to be taken out of the media coverage. Now, this comes up a few times, but it's only like hints. It's only hints about it. Like, both Jamey Heath and Justin Baldoni practice a religion that I'm not sure I have heard of. Maybe I've heard of the religion before and it's a different word or something, but they practice a certain religion. They have certain, different religion than one I've heard of. And I have seen comments being made on both sides of this lawsuit about religion. Like, apparently, like Blake Lively didn't want Justin Baldoni to keep asking her about her religion. Like, what was her religion that she practiced? And then there was some other mention of religion, but we're seeing it here too. This is crazy. It really is. This is probably the most mind-blowing. I don't know. Maybe I reserve the right to change my mind, but look at this. Miss Nathan, the lady they hired to do PR, she told the person that brought her on, I'm on the phone with my sister, Sarah Nathan. She's a journalist at the New York Post and a contributor to Page Six. And she either told Abel or she told Baldoni. She either told Abel or she told her sister. It's ambiguous. But she told somebody to take out her client, Mr. Baldoni's religion from media coverage. So maybe it was that the initial rounds of pieces were mentioning his religion, like Blake Lively is discriminating against his religion. And maybe they were saying, no, don't focus on that. Take it out. That's what it looks like. I mean, you can read it. Look, read right there. But look at the text. Baha'i needs to be out. And mostly the misogynistic. What does that mean? Baha'i needs to be out. What does that mean? I mean, I know what that means, but like, what is this other thing? And mostly the misogynistic. Now, that was apparently coming from Nathan. She's telling this to the news. She's telling this to the New York Post, y'all. She's telling her sister who works at the news what to write about her client who's paying her. She's being paid to influence the news about issues of public importance. If true. I guess they could have photoshopped these text messages. And importantly, I want to let y'all know, Baldoni alleges just that. Baldoni alleges that Blake Lively took out and edited parts of the text messages to make it look like him and Melissa Abel and them were saying stuff they weren't. Erased out the emojis that were showing sarcasm. Thank you again for the 149 super chat, Darth. Thank you, Edie. Don't worry, you speak the truth. The cult, like, black and white thinking has to stop. It does. It's exhausting. It's like, can I speak? Thank you, Steel Princess, for the $5. Mainstream media can't be trusted to report truth. It's like, thanks so much for the $5. And a lot of stuff I say is opinion, too. So, yeah, I'm getting kind of tired and fatigued. That's all I really wanted to talk about right now. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, Minnie. Okay, bye.